host, Webster Tarpley in Washington, D.C. Just a few more notes on how to vote. Vote to stop Obama at all costs. Do not take the leap into the abyss. 1922 and 1933 remind you of what that could mean. There is no comparison between just another reactionary or bourgeois regime and a movement of fanatics, cultists, Kool-Aid drinkers, gutter snipes, goons, thugs, and fervently idealistic students. Because that is what Mussolini put together between 1919 and 1922. The March on Rome. The March on Rome is not a top-down phenomenon. It wasn't the army marching. It wasn't the secret police marching, at least not openly. There were quite a few. But it is to create a piece of political theater that allows repressive measures to be institutionalized in a kind of a police and goon partnership. In other words, the mob that comes to burn out your newspaper or radio station is got the support of the local cops. That's what we're seeing with the Obama campaign, and that's what Mussolini pioneered. So vote to stop Obama. Vote to punish anyone who supported the bailout, and vote to preserve divided government. Right now, with the Congress, the House and the Senate moving towards the Democrats, fine. Get rid of some of these reactionaries. Not everybody running as a Democrat for the House or the Senate is of the same low level as Obama. I mean, most of them are not. Many of them are not. There are plenty of honest Democrats in the House and the Senate. But then solve the problem of the presidency. And it means that you've got to look for alternatives. And those alternatives can be whatever is congenial to you. And hopefully you're going to think about what is the most effective anti-Obama vote. In some places, that is to vote for the obvious reactionary alternative. Better a reactionary than a fascist. Sometimes it would mean Ralph Nader, sometimes Cynthia McKinney, sometimes Baldwin of the Constitution Party, sometimes the Libertarian Bar. There are even a couple of other candidates you can find in certain places. That's a possibility. But remember, don't regard voting as a sacrament. You're not marrying anybody. Strategic voting is the key. Remember that you've got to come out of this with the least worst alternative, and that is divided government, gridlock, partisan paralysis, the continuous filibuster, if you will. The more filibuster, the better. And above all, we must avoid, this is the one caveat on the Democrats, we must avoid a situation where the Senate Democrats get a filibuster-proof majority or supermajority of 60 votes. That is the limiting factor. So basically you might say vote Democrat for the House. Now we get into various kinds of labyrinths, I guess. Obviously you're not voting for Pelosi. You're voting as a counterweight to, hopefully, the reactionary McCain. But in the Senate, watch out what you do in the Senate, because you do not want the Democrats to come out of that with a totalitarian, veto-proof, but above all, filibuster-proof majority. And this means that you're voting for gridlock. You do not want a one-party state. The Obama-Pelosi-Reid combine, the repo clique, means the Mussolini fascist corporate state. Remember also, Obama has gathered to himself the most rotten elements of the Democratic Party, the Howard Deans, the dregs of the exhausted Kennedy machine, and many, many others, political opportunists, racketeers, grafters, vote fraud artists, the Acorn, this entire unsavory apparatus, all gravitating to Obama. Defeat Obama, and this machinery is dealt a severe blow. You've also got to remember the obvious. Obama is Wall Street's candidate. If you want to convince yourself of that, turn on the television for 10 minutes on any of the networks in the news broadcast, and you will see that Barkey is their darling. So all of these reasons, stop Obama, punish the bailout, go for divided government, partisan gridlock, and paralysis. And do not regard your vote as a sacrament. You're voting strategically to avoid the worst, not in some tortured gesture of impotent rage or whatever it is against the system. Above all, don't fall prey to the idea that all these candidates are the same, because the one-party state under the repo clique, the Obama, Pelosi, Reid regime, is much, much worse than divided government.